Hiya, and welcome back to Roads Yet Traveled. The game that teaches us that Tucker's down bad. He's down bad. Anyways, let's just hop right in. The room is cold and empty as Marrowyn walks me inside, leading me to his desk. He's already got a menagerie of tools set out. He must be reading my pulse, as without looking, he reaches out and puts upon my shoulder. Alright, so I went over the professor's list with Pater, and we've picked out what we believe to be truly important. Alright, so I went over the professor's... Hang on, what? Alright, so I went over the professor's list with my assistant, and we've picked out what we believe to be truly important. There were some things on that list that, well, I'm not even sure how we test on you. I'm sure you had your best interest in mind, but it was very strange reading through all that. Thanks, Marrowyn. Of course, Tucker. Well, even with the cuts I made, there's still a lot to go through. We should get started. Alright, yeah, well, what's first? His muzzle twists into a frown as I feel like I already know. He lays out his paw and I sigh and I place my hand in it. The alcohol swab almost stings more than the needle. Alright, hold still. What do you think you're doing? Pop one eye open and turn to see... Oh, hey, Pater. I forgot his voice. And I already know the joke that I'm doing with Pater. I already know the joke that I'm doing. So, I'm just gonna do that. So, yeah. Are you seriously wasting time taking his blood? Marrowyn, you have far better things you could be doing, and I'm right here. Being your assistant is literally half of my job here. Let me do it. You know I'm far better at it than you are anyways. Tell him, Tucker! Pater, didn't I ask you to finish setting up the rest of the tests for today? Yeah, and it'd be 10 times faster if you did it. I still don't understand how you figured out how to set them up so fast. I sent you the memo. Yeah, and we read it. Together. I've reread it 3 times now, thoroughly. And I need to reread it about 10 more times before I can do it as fast as you can. Now, let me handle this, and you can have him back when I'm done with him. Fine, if you insist. He swipes the device from his paws, Marrowyn rolls his eyes and gets up. If you need me, I'll be in the back of the lab. Have I ever needed you? Oh, he angry? He asks slyly. Marrow grumbles under his breath and lumbers off. Someone's having a morning. Shut it. What? Do you have any idea how many messages I got yesterday because of you? Tucker, I need to make one thing very clear. I'm very glad that you're here on the station with us by the fucking void. Do not do whatever you did again. I went through so many damn questions for him. I had to sit in the lab for an extra 4 fucking marks just because he wouldn't leave. Do you have any idea how hard it is to console that man? He has some of the best hearing I've seen out of any caring, and yet I don't think he was listening to a word I said. You have got to make sure this doesn't happen again, okay? I mean, come on. Didn't I give you my number for a reason? Well... Still a bit shocked, I slip out my monitor and hand it over to him. He rolls it around in his paws before realizing he might have jumped the gun. Alright, I can excuse you for not messaging me. But what the fuck happened? I haven't seen him that messed up in cycles. Usually he's so good at brushing things off, but this? I'm fucking shocked, honestly. Opening my monitor, I start typing up a reply. I was upset, it's not his fault. You two got into a fight? That's it? I wasted 4 marks. I could have been sleeping over a petty squabble. By the void, I feel like I'm back in medical training. Well, make it up to him. I don't want to have to spend any more time listening to his woes. I doubt that. Fuck you. I laugh and he rubs his forehead, trying to hide a smile. Well, try not to let it happen again, alright? Hearing it was over something as little as a fight, I'm shocked he got that upset. But we all have our limits, I suppose. Anyways, we have tests to do before he's done over there, so shall we? I nod and he begins with the rest of the physical. He checks my wounds and records my heartbeat, then measures my blood pressure and reaction time. He says most of what he's recording is still guesswork, and I can understand. It's basically impossible for them to make a medical profile for me, being the only human, but it's better than nothing. Especially when Pater says my blood pressure is a bit high. But I feel like I know why. I still haven't explained what happened to me. It's been a bit hard to keep track of it all. Anyways, anytime I move an inch, he snaps at me to stop moving while he's examining me, so I doubt he'd appreciate me texting. Looking over me, though, he does notice a fair amount of bruises that weren't previously there. Hey, Tucker, when you said you got into a fight with Marrowyn, you meant, like, verbally, correct? Huh? I know he's a bit of an oaf at times, but he didn't, like, knock you over or anything, did he? Stay the fuck out of my fantasies. Wait, what? Startled, I quickly shake my head no. I didn't think so, but then, what the hell happened? Is this separate from your argument? I nod yes before sighing and going to reach for my monitor, but a paw stops me. Hey, listen. I can see it on you, but if you don't want to talk about this right now, we don't have to. I'm just here to make sure you're alright and entertain you until Marrow is done with his work. Most of it looks superficial anyways. Maybe a small fracture at best. Just tell me this wasn't a crew member, was it? I shake my head no. Whew. If that ever does happen though, let me know. I'll take care of it. So wait, self-inflicted then? I wince and offer a non-committal hand gesture. Well, let's be a bit more careful then, shall we? And if it was the other kind of self-inflicted, my monitor's always on. What is he? Oh, that's kind of him. Thank you. I'd still rather you not be hurt at all. But spending 4 marks listening to you grunt and complain is far better than having to listen to Marrowyn again. After inspecting the rest of me, he takes my weight only to note it's gone down again. He hasn't done anything about your diet, I'm guessing? I knew this was going to come down to me getting it done. Seno! Any updates on more nutritional foods for Tucker here? No, sorry. This Sokonos project came in just at the same time. I've been a bit busy. He shouts as his head comes out from behind a tangle of wires. Well, that's just great. What did I even yell at you for then? Once we finish up some of the tests today, I should have an okay idea as to what you might want to be eating. Whether or not we can get you to eat it is another question. If anything, I could prepare some dietary supplements for you. Pills or tablets, something like that. It's not really the best solution, but if your tests do end up showing signs of deficiency since last time, we can at least fix that. At least you can crush those up and use them as a topping for your salads. I've almost gotten used to it at this point, but changing things up would be great. He makes some notes for himself and goes over to check on Marrowyn, who I can see is bent over and has his head inside some control box for one of the machines. His tail wags gently as he talks to Pater, and he waves to me as he notices me staring. I wave back as Pater returns. Alright, he's almost done over there, so there shouldn't be much left. Do you mind if we get this over with? He holds up the human blood drainer 3000 or whatever it's called. I take a deep breath and nod, laying out my arm. Sorry if my trick only works once, but I promise you, you won't feel a thing. And much to my surprise, I barely do. He's done in less than a second, and he quickly stows away the vial before bandaging me up. Marrowyn comes lumbering over and leans on one of the nearby desks. How's it going over here, Almost done. Be sure to feed him today, okay? It's going to be a long day. Yes. It's already scheduled. Should I add another order to it? For me? No, thank you. I'll come by later once I've finished running things on my end. I can help close up today if you need me as well. We're going to have to make all these machines are properly calibrated again after this. They're probably due for that anyways. But I'll leave you two to it. Well, thank you for your help today, Peter, and let me know if there's anything I should be aware of after you finish your tests. Yeah. See you in a few marks. Why did I decide to do that for Peter? Marrowyn nods and starts setting up something on a monitor. Peter gets to the door before turning back to me. He meets my eyes before pulling out his monitor and raising an eyebrow. I give him a knowing nod and he smiles as the door closes behind him. I'm glad to know he's still on my side, even if I can't really tell why. Still, I should be sure to message him more now. Tucker, are you alright? Oh, yeah, just a bit tired. Of course, how's Peter? Was the exam alright? Yeah, it was fine. He's as charming as ever. He's certainly something, isn't he? Well, shall we? Yeah, right, so what's first anyway? First would be this over here. He says he leads me back to the large circular device at the back of the room. You may still be familiar with this one, you've been through it once already. The door opens and a bed-like protrusion comes out of the wall. Right. X-rays or something, yeah? The professor asked for, frankly, a stunning amount of internal scans to be done. Some that would have been, well, a bit more intrusive than I would have liked, so I condensed the list and selected the ones I thought would be best. Intrusive? I thought you said his tests were going to be rudimentary. I said most of them, were not all of them. Marrowyn? It's fine. We won't do anything you don't want to, I promise. I've already vetoed doing anything too invasive as is. And he'll be okay with that. He's not the one with 3 medical degrees, so he'll have to live with it. Anyway, some of the things he asked for were excessive anyways. For example, he asked that I try to do a complete internal biopsy and even take some marrow samples. Whereas we can clearly just do some internal scans instead. Oh, so like an MRI or something. We have that technology back home is all. That's good. So you understand some of what's happening then. I mean, for me it just boils down to sitting still for a few marks, but yeah, I get it. Well, we should get started then. Do you mind taking your shoes off and emptying your pockets? Any number of miscellaneous things could interfere with the test. Oh yeah, no problem. Thank you. Now, don't worry too much about this first one. I can sit with you here while we do it. I will just ask that you try and sit still. Yeah, of course. Mind helping me up? He offers a pause. I slip into the device. It's immediately colder in here somehow, but I manage to rest my arms on my sides as the machine slips me into the wall. I can't see, but I think he's seated just above my head. I hear him flipping through some documents and talking under his breath. The dim lights move in a hypnotic pattern on the ceiling, only a foot or two from my face. So, what is this Soknos project anyways? The one you keep talking about. Some big new thing coming in, yeah? Oh, well, clearance aside, I suppose I can tell you. Aren't I your assistant? Well, yes, and I do take that seriously, but I haven't even told Peter all of the specifics yet. Really? Can't imagine he's happy about that. He's used to it. Grab it because apparently you didn't fucking learn the first time, Marrowyn. Because apparently he didn't learn the first time. So he didn't learn the first time. And I still feel powerful holding this. Just, if you ever want to feel powerful, just hold a belt. I guarantee you will feel like a god. He's used to it. He's been at Soknos longer than I have. Then you absolutely shouldn't be hiding shit from him. Oh, that's surprising. Is it? Well, kind of. I figured since since the professor was so prolific, you'd have been around since you were qualified. I worked for some subsidiaries for a while. That doesn't mean I wasn't here working on the station, I just wasn't a Soknos employee. So it's semantics. Are you sure you want to start arguing with me? I could forget to take you out of there for a mark or two. I have been busy, after all. And let me starve? You'd never. You're not hungry, are you? I hear him almost whimper. Now I feel bad. Now I feel bad.
Time to drink water.
Damn it.
It's time to drink water.
Those eyes are going to be the death of me. Those fucking eyes are going to be the death of me. God. No, Marrowyn, I'm fine. Thank you. But that's kind of cool still. I forget that not everyone here works for Soknos. It feels like that at times, but no. I don't really know how ubiquitous Soknos is outside of this place. I can only imagine they're pretty damn important. They basically seem like an arm of the government at this point. So, are you going to tell me about it? Oh, it's not as exciting as you might imagine. They're having us run trials on some new drug that they've been working on. Something about bone and muscle atrophy in spaceborne individuals. That's a thing that happens on stations with no gravity if you're not careful. It's not really fatal, mind you, but it is still something we need to overcome for long-term sustainability. That sounds pretty important. Is that something you want to be working on, though? If it ends up helping people, then of course. But it just as likely could fail to pass at the trial stages. That must be rough for him, working on something for months only to have it shelved because it can't be done at the time. So, what's up with all the boxes and new equipment, then? Seems like a lot for just some drug trials. Honestly, I'm not sure myself. There's apparently still more waiting in the cargo hold as well. I do appreciate getting new tools every once in a while, but this does feel a bit excessive. Maybe they're just being cautious. Yes, that is a virtue they like to think they preach, isn't it? He continues reading as I feel myself getting drowsy staring at the ceiling. I want to itch every single bone of my body, every single inch of my body at the same time, just like waiting like this. And somehow, he can tell. You're about halfway there, Tucker. Really? No. Are you doing alright, though? Yeah. Just a bit bored. I can imagine. Do you need anything? Not really, but talking helps. Anything cross your mind? I don't really understand something. Maybe you can help me figure it out. Okay, what is it? You've talked about other stations before, but I don't understand. Are there just civilians living in space? It's a bit complicated. There are various orbital and low orbiting stations around most of the planets in our system, but they aren't like this one. Some house civilians or entire communities, and some are strictly for research or government business. Very few of them have gravity. The ones in low orbit do, but those are really only on Lyo, and are different in their own right. Tyr said something about that, I think. Yes, he worked there for a time, I believe. So wait, why do people live on these stations then? Don't you have like 3 planets you could be on instead? Why live anywhere? It's societal reasons, socioeconomic reasons, it's a whole bevy of issues. For Lyo, it's mainly the issue of overpopulation. If you can't create enough cities on the ground, make them in the sky. Not everyone wants to move to Urian or Reich, and fewer still even can. Space travel may be easier for us than it is for your species, but it's still not an easy process, and it's far from being wholly commercialized. You didn't mention Lyo had an overpopulation issue. I didn't mention a lot of things about the planets, Tucker. We barely had time for a summary. Yes, Lyo has had a population crisis for a few generations now. The new cities have helped, but they aren't a permanent solution. I had no idea. Perhaps I'm explaining it poorly. It's not as awful as I believe you think it is. People thrive, society flourishes, just as it always has. Many of our best recruits are from Lyo, including Pater and myself. I thought you didn't know where you came from. Oh well, the orphanage was on Lyo. Whether I came from the planet's surface or an orbital matters little. It's not like they transported me from Urian just to get adopted. No, I guess not. Why is every answer here raising even more questions? So there are stations like that on every planet. Even the uninhabited ones. Most of them, I don't believe Tiram or Reclaim have any. And if there is one orbiting an uninhabitable planet, it's most likely a research station like this one. And they're mostly around Lyo, though. I believe so. Urian and Reich don't have quite the same infrastructure as to support building them, let alone the economy to keep them running. As long as they don't need them, I suppose. I wonder what Maruk could tell me about that. Well, thanks for explaining that. I will say, though, it definitely makes me want to visit Lyo at some point if that ever becomes a possibility. I hadn't really thought about leaving the station for a while, and especially not to go to an alien planet. I wonder if that'd ever be possible. I doubt Marrowyn thinks about leaving the station too often either. That might be a while, Tucker. Yeah. I realize that. No worries. It's okay, really. How much longer until I can stretch my legs, Doc? Marrow? The scan finished a few minutes ago. I just didn't want to cut you off while you were still talking. Please let me out. The machine slides out from the wall and a paw helps me back to my feet. Get a few stretches in while he fiddles with a nearby display. So, this was your first x-ray from a few days ago, and this one is from today. Two almost identical images appear on screen in front of me. It's like a really strange game of spot the difference as I look for any changes in my bones. I think I noticed something on one of my legs, but when I pointed out, Doc waves it off as superficial. I keep trying until he finally raises a clawed finger to a part on my right arm. Here. This could be some small fracture of some kind. Do you mind if I feel it? Huh? Oh, my arm. Yeah, sure. Turning to the side, I raise my arm for him and he gently starts pressing down where he thinks the damage might be. Do you feel anything? Anything at all? I feel some really soft paws pressing into me, but not much beyond that. Not really. You can press harder if that help. No, you'd be able to feel it by now. Well, at least the scan came out negative. I'm sure the rest will too, don't worry. It's a shame about this, though. He raises a paw to the diagram, pointing to my jaw. Oh, right. I feel the area with my tongue only to be met with still tender tissue. Yeah, that wasn't really on my to-do list either. But hey, maybe it's a good thing I'm still only eating oatmeal, or otherwise I might agitate it more, huh? 'Cause, you know, And you're sure they don't grow back? Pretty sure. Well, let me know if it begins to cause any discomfort. I'll see what I can do about it. In the meantime, do you mind coming over here? He gets up and heads over to another machine. Following behind him, I accidentally bump into his side, causing him to chuckle as he wraps an arm behind me and pats my back. What's this one gonna do to me? Hopefully nothing, but it should give us a good idea of the structure of your nervous and circulatory systems. Like my lungs. More like your veins. I know it may seem a bit unnecessary with your lack of fur, but it'll give us more to work with. Helping me up onto the table, I lay down as the rings of the machine whir to life, moving up and down in an almost disorienting pattern. Yeah. This shouldn't take nearly as long. I'm going to go get some things ready while you wait. Is that alright? Oh, sure, more tests? Lunch, actually. I believe Pater has something to report, so he'll be back as well. Yeah, sure. Go for it. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about barely being here. He smiles and steps away, marching off and digging through one of the fridges in the back of the room as his tail lolls behind him. I'm still amazed he hasn't knocked anything over with that damn thing. Being able to see the rest of the room is quite nice even if I can't move still. Time slips by as the rings do their best to lull me to sleep. Before I know it, a large pause being offered and I get myself up off the scanner. I hope that was alright. Nothing too horrible. Well, what was that it? I almost fell asleep for a minute there. Not all of the tests have to be terrible. Not that, they are terrible, just terribly important. His massive grin implies that was a joke, but I unfortunately can't make myself laugh, even if he did try his hardest. Pater should be back here soon, though, if you would like to take a seat. I nod, graciously taking some assistance in getting up on one of the stools and resting on the empty desk. Marrowyn goes about preparing some of the scans for review while musing to himself about, well, something. I can't quite hear him, but his muted tone speaks volumes. I'd almost say he sounds disappointed. I hope that he's just bored with how good and healthy and totally not worrying my scans are.
I see some charts come up and his expression shift. I want to ask what's wrong, but the second I breathe in to speak, he walks further away, leaving me with just a sigh. He doesn't seem worried, though, that's for certain. I'll know soon enough, though. Probably. Whether or not what's wrong with me is physical, mental, or, well, spiritual, there's probably a good chance one of these tests today can figure something out. I doubt it will explain what I saw, though. As I go to rest my head, the far door opens and I perk up, seeing a pair of pointy ears peeking out from behind a desk. Theno, if you ever use me as a delivery boy again, I swear I will have your tail. Tucker, lunch is here. Pater grumbles, but graciously puts the tray on the table for all of us before taking a seat across from me. Oh, you're still alive, that's good. Figured Marrowyn might have stepped on you by accident. The same could be said for you. Ha! Really, Pater, he's right. You better watch where you stand. He rolls his eyes and starts taking food for himself, shoving something into his maw before continuing. But really, he good? You don't seem too worried. You didn't send any worrying messages, at least. Everything was pretty good on my end. It's hard to say. I don't see any blockages or hemorrhaging in his venous system. His x-rays turned out fine. Perhaps just a hairline fracture or two, but really, everything seemed fine. And? Well, I don't really know what Tyr wanted. We've gone through his ridiculous demands, and I don't know what's wrong with him. Not that I'm saying that there is something wrong, but after what you've described and what happened, I'm just not sure what to do. We still have to do the last scan after lunch, but I'm not holding out hope that we'll find anything. Alright. And? We both turn to Pater, who's halfway through chewing a dumpling of some kind. And? Yeah. And? Usually doctors are happy when their patients' tests come back negative. Were his vitals good? Well, from what we understand, yes, but... And his lungs? All sounded good? From what I heard, yes, but I really must state that. And his blood work? Done by a fantastic assistant? Oh, he's doing good. It was fine. He's fine. Marrowyn, I know you're worried, but please don't let it consume you. I've seen what this kind of work does to you, and I'd really prefer if you didn't sequester yourself away for another 2 weeks. I'd really like to have my boss back. Pater, even if that were all true, with it is, there could still be a million things wrong with him. How are you so calm about this? Hey, Tucker, humor me for a minute, alright? You just translate, don't interfere. What are you... no, just listen. Alright, Tucker, tell me, what are your symptoms again? Memory loss, hallucinations, dizziness, and headaches. I look to Marrowyn, who looks surprisingly annoyed as though this kind of thing has played out before. Still, he translates for me. Oh wow, so let me get this right. The alien that has been displaced from his kind is suffering symptoms of anxiety and some severe traumatic stress disorders. He needs therapy, not a bone marrow biopsy. Pater, that's not just it. Please don't what? Make your life easier? Marrowyn, I know how you are when Theno tells you to do things, alright? We've worked together long enough that I can understand that. You're grasping at tails here. What are you trying to find? Did he even tell you? You can't seriously expect to just keep running tests on the poor kid until you find something that you can fix. Void, he shouldn't even be here! He should be resting or enjoying some resort somewhere. I still can't believe Thoknos decided to put him to work of all things. He was bored in his room. We're just glad he's getting out. Fine, whatever. I'm still not going to waste my time on any bullshit he sends your way, alright? Not going to stop working on the kid, obviously, but don't waste my time being like this, okay? Well? Varison, please. Show some professionalism. Oh my, thanks come out! If only you could speak to your father like that. Okay, he's going a bit too far. Girl needs a nap in McDonald's. He does. Like, yeah, obviously Marrowyn needs to hear this. Like, in all honesty, obviously Marrowyn needs to hear this. However, I think Pater is going about it the wrong way. Time and place. Marrowyn gets up and walks to the back of the lab, going over something on one of the monitors. I arch my back, turning around to watch him go, but before I make a decision, Pater speaks up.
Don't worry about him. He'll be fine in a few minutes, a mark at most. Sorry you had to see that, I guess. I'm not the biggest fan of the, interesting relationship my boss has with his boss. I've scrambled about taking care of a lot working for Soknos, but never as much working under Marrow. I'm sure you've seen it. Like a grain of sand, just like that, he's gone. Off to the void, knows where, doing something for his father. I understand that he's also his boss in a way, but still. Maybe I just need a vacation. He stares off, casually finishing his plate and tapping his claws against the desk. Seeing Marrowyn moping in the corner, though, I almost feel obliged to help, as I'm sure he'd do the same for me. I can practically hear Pater roll his eyes as I get up and head over. The worst part, though, is I'm not sure he's wrong? I mean, about anything, really. It really could be crazy stress symptoms. It might not explain the weird shit that happened to my phone or how I got grabbed by that monster, but I don't know. I don't think a doctor would be able to explain those things away either. Okay, I just want to point this out because I learned it not too long ago. My biggest guess is Tucker is going through the motions of PTSD, anxiety, and depression. Like, just that's the bare basics that he's going through. Obviously, he's going through more, but that's like the bare basics. Quick fun fact, and I want to fact check before I say this, but according to nhs.uk, it is possible to have hallucinations from depression. Yeah, it is possible that you can get hallucinations from depression. It's called psychotic depression. Some people who have severe depression may also experience hallucinations and delusional thinking, the symptoms of psychosis. That's my guess on what's happening to Tucker. That's my guess. But I'm not a doctor. I don't think a doctor would be able to explain those things away either. I think I'm going to need a priest at this point, and a damn good one. Walking up to Marrow, I call out, gently tugging on his jacket. Hey, you alright? I am, thank you. Are you sure? I am, truly. It's just, I don't know what I can do for you, and that worries me more than anything. What the fuck? Oh. You're not upset? Ugh, no. I'm not blind to how things are. I know how my relationship with Tyr looks from the outside. It's always been hard to explain. Pater just has his own way of putting things, and sometimes, well, even when he is right, he can be a bit pushy about it. Does he resent you? Me? Oh, void no. At least I don't think so. Pater! Do you hate me? Yes! I'm pretty sure he's joking. No, I'm not! But about my father, well, I believe it's quite clear. What do you want to do then? I don't know. If you can stand to sit around for a bit longer today, I see no harm in performing some more of the tests he requested. But I don't know Tucker. It's been a long time since I haven't known what to do about something like this, and that worries me. I expected as much when we first met, but still. What do you want to do? It's your life, and I know you're worried about this too. I am, really. But Pater might be right. I don't know if this is the right direction for all of this. For now, I'd be happy to finish the tests you prepared today. I'm sure it will help put your mind at ease too, at least a bit. It just might.
Thank you, Tucker. We should really get back to our break now. I'd feel better if you ate something as well. Just, try to ignore him. Huh? I ask, but he doesn't respond. He ushers us back to the table, and I immediately see what he means. His lovely assistant has the most indignant smirk on his face. Marrowyn doesn't even face forwards, forcing me to bear the full brunt of it. It really is hard working for Thokno sometimes, but it's even harder being right all the time. I truly don't know how you do it. I work out, read up on all the trending practices, eat a balanced diet. I wouldn't call it balanced, Verison. All I've ever heard you talking about is eating meat. Either we're reading too much into this and have terrible brains, or Marrowyn just called Pater a cocksucker, and it is glorious. Fair, Thenno. Maybe I just need to try something a little heavier. Ugh. What kind of meat does he eat? I whisper to Marrowyn as Pater cools down. The face confirms it! The face confirms it! Men. Now comes the real question. Now comes the real question. Is Pater a top or a bottom? These are the real questions plaguing our society. Men. Huh? I'm sorry, perhaps I shouldn't have made that remark. It's not an appropriate conversation for this time. Huh? I thought he was of age for a species. What's got you all in a fuss? Well, sure, but we still haven't spoken much on species dimorphism or sexual preferences compared to reproductive organs, and... He cuts himself off as he notices Pater staring. I like men. I know that. By the void, I wasn't telling you that, I was telling him! Oh, right. Especially big ones. Oh wait, I'm gonna redo that.
Especially big ones.
He says in a sultry voice punctuated by biting his lower lip. Stop it. We're not forcing you to stay. Amethyst, if you want to leave, you can. We're not going to force you to stay. Marrowyn replies in a flat tone. I can't say I've really thought about the preferences of the crew. I mean, even if I... A flood of memories comes washing over me from this morning, and I have to cover my face to stifle a blush. See what you've done. Me? No, he's fine. Sorry. Nothing. I'm, glad for him, really. Well, yes, my dear assistant here has a certain proclivity for other caring of the same gender. Is that something that happens in your species? I should mention that this isn't specifically for the purpose of reproduction, although just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean I won't keep trying. Too far. What I'm trying to say is, that there are certain individuals of our species who have a preference for a mate that goes beyond that of creating offspring. Does that occur with your species as well? Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I should say anything more, at least right now. I mean, surely there's no harm in it, right? But I'll give it time. The question remains, though, are you a certain individual, Marrow? Oh, so then I don't have to explain further. That's great. I can! Sorry, that was too far. Got it. Anyways, now that tangent's out of the way, Pater, don't you have something to report? Back to business, I see. Alright, yeah, I do. I finished your blood work, Tucker, and it's pretty good. It might take a few days for the allergy cultures to come back, but everything else looks fine. At least as far as we can understand. You haven't caught anything new, I don't see any issues with red blood cell count or anything like that. These are, of course, all coming from measuring your previous samples, so they'll never be perfect numbers, but you get the idea. I will say, though, your diet needs improvement once these tests are finished. Your iron levels are low. We really need to get some meat in you. Heh, I'd offer mine, but... He's a top. And you know what? I'm here for it. I'm here for it. You know what? Hang on. I'm gonna make a note. I'm going to make a note real quick. Ah, God damn it! Hang on. I need to undo something real quick. Gotta do that one. I'm gonna make a new reminder. I'm gonna make a reminder. Change the time to tomorrow. Son of a bitch. Hang on. Son of a fucking fuck. Yes, I want to make a reminder. Add date. Bitch! Hang on. Let me grab my phone. I'd also be laughing my ass off at this situation. I think we all would be. Fucking... Reminders. New reminder. Make Marrowyn X Pater fanfiction again. Pater is the top. Details, date is tomorrow. And alright. Right here. Actually, you can't see it. Hang on. Let me put it in dark mode. So that way you don't fucking die. Where the fuck is dark mode? It's under, display brightness, dark. Hang on. Yeah. I just put a reminder in my phone to write fanfiction. This is what my life has come to. I'd offer mine, but... Well, actually... Pater! Stop it! But beyond that, everything seems okay. Although with your permission, Marrowyn, I'd like to start taking things a step further. You know I don't like touting my I almost said touting my titties. I genuinely thought he was going to say, you know I don't like touting my titties for nothing, Theno. You know I don't like touting my titles for nothing, Theno. I'm talking about vaccines. And if not that, then at least dietary supplements, as I mentioned before. I know you've brought it up before, but are you sure? One mistake and, well... I understand the risks, I do. But we're one carrier away from a catastrophe for Tucker. We've never had any major breakouts here, but if it does happen, I don't want to leave it up to chance. It'll only be worth if you get sick and we can't do anything. I know. I'll approve a testing phase for now, but please, take your time with it. I know I will. I've had some promising results using his previous samples, but it will take a while. It's never going to be completely safe, I'm sorry, Tucker. There's just no way to test something like this on just one person, but I really do think it's the only way. I know. Thank you, Pater. I appreciate you looking into that. Is there anything else that came up? With his blood work? I don't think so. Alright, well, you can go for the day if you like. I think we're just going to do one more scan before we finish up more. What's left? Magnetic resonance. We've seen his internals from when he arrived, but I'd like a better scan. And the machines, you can reset them yourself. Shouldn't take more than a mark. Or two. Alright, I'll come in early and check. We're still preparing for that Thoknoth trial. Yes, and it has to be started before they get here. And early theft it is, then. Alright, I'll leave you two alone. Marrowyn, don't overthink it, alright? Thank you, Pater, I know. He stands, mouth at a slant, tapping his paw on the desk before relenting and standing. And sighing. Whatever he had to say, I guess it can wait, but in this case, maybe he's just tired of repeating himself. Either way, he offers me a farewell and says he'll be in touch if anything comes up. Marrowyn, however, is already slouched over a console typing something into a monitor. I can almost see the cogs in his brain turning as I see he clearly hasn't taken Pater's advice. Ever. I don't want to bother him about it now, though. He's stressed out enough today as is. Finishing my own lunch, I watch him go about setting things up and going through some messages. He takes a seat on a stool, eyes sagging behind his glasses as the light from his monitor does its best to hide his expression. It's barely the 20th mark and we're both exhausted. It's fine. I don't have to do much these next few days, and then whatever Soknos brings, I'm sure I'll be ready for it.
Just a genuine question for everyone.
I
Is
wonder if I
Payday on your
should-
side, ho?
How is Pater the side hoe when he's the main hoe? I'm not sure the captain takes walk-ins, but I could certainly try. Maybe she'd be interested in telling me what's going on, simply because it might amuse her. I get the feeling that's the only reason she does anything. Why else call people in at random times with cryptic messages? I don't think I even have her number, actually. I would love a Pater route, though. I would love a Pater route. It's probably never going to happen, but I would love one. I don't think I even have her number, actually. Reaching into my pocket to check, Marrowyn calls out to me. Tucker, are you done eating? Would you mind coming over here? Yeah, sure. Everything alright? Oh yes, just here, look at this. He points to a screen displaying one of the x-rays on my leg. There's a very small crack going down the front of it. I don't know if that's where I hit my shin when I saw that flying Roomba thing. Ouch, yeah, look at that. Think it's okay? Well, does it hurt to walk around? Not really. Then it's fine. He says in an almost banal tone. Wiping his brow, he sighs. I was just going over everything again while I had time. I'm just going to mark it down for later in case it gets worse. What? Marrowyn, didn't we just talk about this? Well, yes. I know Pater doesn't have a full understanding of what's happening, not that I think anyone does, but I still think he's right. Whatever's going on, it might not be something you can just fix. And I don't want you to not try. I'd never ask you to give up, but I think you need to at least think about it differently. He sighs and tries to turn away. I reach out, grabbing one of his paws, wrapping my whole hand around 3 of his fingers. They instinctively close around my own, holding them gently. Marrowyn, look at me. I'm going to be okay. Alright? If you can't find anything wrong with me, then you've done your best. Right? He doesn't look like he wants to admit to anything right now, let alone concede to any fault. It's almost impossible to see anything behind his eyes at times. He's usually so energetic and warm, wearing his disarming smile. But now he's hunched over in a corner, fretting, and all I can think of is how I've been here before. I know, I'm sorry. Being stumped by something like this really just... Well, usually I can ask someone for help, but in your case... it's not easy being the only premier researcher on alien biology. When did you get that title? I've only been here for 2 weeks. Just now? Yeah. And what does the premier researcher think we should do next? By the eye, I was hoping you'd tell me. Well, the last machine should be just about calibrated for you if you'd like to get that over with. Otherwise, there isn't much to do today until I clean up a bit. Then we can go back to our room. So I'd say we just get this over with. Sounds good. He smiles as he helps me up onto the bed. It's nice. He was in such a dour mood before. He steps back and another dizzying array of machinery unfolds itself above me. Now, I know this might look intimidating, but you really won't feel a thing. That being said, it might take a while, so if you do happen to doze off, don't worry about it. Just try not to move too much. Oh, alright. I hear a sharp beep as the array starts to twitch and flow above me, moving up and down my body in constant rhythm. Multiple small arms with various discs and lights all pointed down at me. I feel like if I were to ever be dissected, now would be the time. Now I'll be here if you need me, just shout. I nod and he looks like he wants to interject, but he just scoffs and walks off. I shouldn't even nod, huh? It's fine. He said this was the last one anyways. I just hope this helps, even though I know it probably won't. It feels like a mark has passed since I've started laying here, and I can barely tell if we've made any progress. Marrowyn had to step out briefly to help another one of his assistants, and he hasn't been back since. The array is still moving, so I assume I still shouldn't be, but I'll be damned if it isn't getting annoying. Having a hard time even staying awake. The lights dimmed about 10 minutes ago after Marrowyn left. They must be motion sensitive or something. I really don't want to sleep, though. I'd hate to... to mess up the test. I'm gonna have to do it again. My eyes close. My thoughts vanish and all I feel is the comfort of the lights slowly dancing above me. At least I don't dream. I feel it. In my bones. Something is calling to me. From my wrist to my spine, it's all the same. A certain numbness. It feels like an action, like a lapse in blood flow causing my nerves to short circuit. Down the last neuron. I should really stretch. All I need to do is reach out and... Ah, Tucker, please don't do that! My eyes shoot open as Marrowyn grabs my wrist. I thought I said not to touch the array, it's quite fragile. Perhaps I forgot. That was my fault. He lets go of my arm and I rub my wrist. It feels numb. What happened? What do you mean? I came back from helping my assistant and you had fallen asleep. Oh my god, thank you for the follow. Hiya, welcome, thank you. Since you didn't need to be awake for the scan, I decided to just let you rest. I'd only noticed you just woke up. The test finished a few minutes ago, so that's good timing. Were you trying to get up? Sorry, you should have called me. You know I'd be happy to come in. Marrowyn! I almost curse out as I sit up and kick my legs to the side. He looks more worried than upset as he comes to my side, probably picking up on my heartbeat, which has quickly risen. What is it, Tucker? I think I don't know. Sorry, What happened? I don't know. I'm sorry, I think I'm a bit jumpy. Turning away from my hands, I see the worry in his eyes refocus with determination. I thought it was happening again. It might have been nothing. I was just trying to get up and I was reaching for something. Might have been that, somnambulism thing you were talking about. Somnambulism. Sleepwalking. It's possible. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have left you. I'm still going to record this, but I'm worried it's happening so soon. Perhaps this was too many tests for the day. You must be stressed and tired, no doubt. Well, the good news is that you're done here for the day. The test finished while you were asleep. Oh, well, that's... something at least. Babe, wake up. Marrowyn gave us physical contact. We are going to scream. Without the S. That's something at least. So, should we head out then? If everything is done? I'm not quite done yet, sorry. I have a few more things to finish up before tomorrow morning. We still need to look over your results as well. Did you look at them before I woke up? Not yet. I was working over there until I noticed you were awake. They should be ready if you'd like to finish up. Yeah, might as well. I have no idea why Marrow wants me to look over these as well, but maybe I can offer some help. I barely know where half my organs are as is, let alone their names. The basics, sure, but beyond that, void forgive me if you ask where my gallbladder is. Scoffing, I hop off the table and head over to Marrowyn, who's listlessly typing away at his keyboard. Long day? Something like that. Are you sure you're okay, Tucker? You scared me back there. Right. Am I? Fuck, I mean, I don't even know how to tell if that was anything. I woke up so fast that I'd forgotten if I was dreaming or... I think I've had a long day myself. Right. I'm sorry. For... Well, for maybe overreacting about everything you've told me and what Tyr asked of me. Or maybe underreacting? It's a bit hard to tell. Marrowyn, you're doing your best. As are you, Tucker. He rests his paw on my shoulder before pulling me into his chest. I freeze at first at the sudden hug, but his paws find their way to my back and I can't help but do the same. You're doing your best, Tucker. Don't forget that. I don't respond as I hear, hell, I feel him take a few deep breaths before releasing me. Was this fucker smelling our hair? He smiles, patting my head once before turning back to the monitor. A little flush, I blurt out, "So, what are we looking for anyways?" With this? Well, normally this kind of test is for checking if a patient has any issues with the soft tissues in their bodies. So your organs and the likes. Since we're not scanning for anything in particular, it'll also act as a good frame of reference. Everything here can be translated into a 3D image if we need to, so it's a great way to learn about what's going on inside you. He pokes at my chest and bat his paw away. But otherwise, not a lot. I'm sorry to say, but if you did have a tumor or something like that, it might not be easy for me to locate. Not that I think you do, there would be other symptoms, but still. Are you sure you're the premier alien researcher on this station? Hey now, I'd like to see anyone else run these tests better. Alright. So, is that it? I ask as a dull monochromatic image pops onto the screen. Ah, yes. He moves the slider and it's almost as though layer upon layer is hewn away as the image cuts through my body. It's a bit unsettling, honestly. Not the most flattering photo I've ever taken. Ha! Rarely is it. What is it? I ask as I notice he can barely take his eyes off the screen. It's just... I've studied care and I've even studied some animals, but this? You? A non-lion life form? You're fascinating, Tucker. I can't help but blush for some reason. I only hope the green lights of the room hide it. Thanks? By all means, it was a compliment. I just never thought I'd be here. Well, it seems like everything worked out okay, but I'm going to need to look over this for a while before I can make any assumptions. Although... Oh shit, the ad's running. Sorry, we're gonna stop it for the ads. Want to break from the ads? While I check something... Alright, it's not out yet. Sad. Well, it seems like everything worked out okay, but I'm going to need to look over this for a while before I can make any assumptions. Although, he definitely moves the scan away, now a view from above, and slowly starts cutting away layers through my head. Almost getting a headache looking at it. Although... Ha! No, sorry, I thought I saw something. Well, how does it look to you? Bad, honestly. I never thought I'd have to see something like this. Yes, it can be a little discomforting, I imagine. I've had similar tests done on me before I got my neural. I can't say I saw the results, but I imagine they were equally as unnerving. Well, what do you think of it all, then? Of what? I gesture vaguely at the screen. I don't know, are human brains weird? Totally different? Oddly shaped? You tell me. He rearranges his glasses and squints at the monitor. Besides the visual similarities of the lobes and a similar stem structure, I can't say for certain. I'll send it over to Pater and a few of my other assistants. We'll comb over these scans for anything that could be wrong, don't you worry. Yeah? Alright, thanks, Doc. He grins before noticing something and pulling out his monitor. Would you look at that? What's up? Pater's already complaining. About... everything. Marrowyn finishes, responding before turning back to me. He'll be fine. He just likes to make sure I'm aware of his position on things. Often. Where were we, though? I think we were just finishing up. Ah, of course. You're free to go back to the room if you'd like. But if you don't mind waiting, I just need to get a few things set up for tomorrow. Yeah, it's fine, Marrow. I'll wait around. His tail lolls behind him as he stomps over to the machine we used earlier. It doesn't take long for him to finish up. Lumbering through the halls, Marrowyn lets out a yawn before... I knew it was going to be a long day, but I didn't think it'd be this late already. It's alright, Marrowyn. I'm doing okay. I was actually complaining for myself for once. Ha! These early mornings really do a number on me. But I'm glad to see you finally acclimated to the time difference. It's been better. I'm still waking up pretty early. Sometimes I just stare at the ceiling for a mark or two until I can fall asleep again. That could be the stress as well, but I'm still glad to see the progress. My guy, if that happens, then Marrowyn needs help. I can barely stare at his dopey smile as it beams down at me. Either way, it is getting late. I'm glad we managed to finish everything up in one day. I'm still going to need some time tomorrow to prepare things. Soknos? Indeed. It'll be fine. I have the feeling my project won't be the first thing they'll inspect. Honestly, they might not come by for a few days. I'm pretty sure they'll be busy enough as is. With Tyr? I don't doubt it. Mind you, due to the nature of his project, it's not unusual that he'd be busy. Have you asked him about it? No. Unless he needs my help, I usually let him manage his own work. I'm not sure I entirely believe that. Well, it's fine. As long as we can still go see that film, I'm not too worried. Oh, we definitely should. I've already told Peter I'll be taking the time off. That's, actually part of the reason he was upset. He was slightly less upset when I told him why, but then he asked for time off himself. I mean, you are his boss, right? I'm only his boss insofar as it comes to working on projects for Soknos. Everything he does in his lab is his own work. Mind you, I help oversee some of his research, but I'm no expert. And here I thought you knew everything about medicine. Not even close. Especially not now, since you're around. He slaps my back, causing me to catch myself. Making our way back to our room, he lets us in and I begin to unwind for the night. Although as soon as I lay down, I feel the sudden urge to be doing anything else. I guess laying down all day would do that to you. Sitting by the side of the bed, I watch Marrowyn fidget with something on his monitor. He's sighing and tapping his claws on the desk. I thought you were going to sleep. His tail straightens up as he flicks his head over to his shoulder. Oh, well, I realized it's still a bit early. I figured I could send a few more reports until then. I think you should take a break, Marrow. Perhaps. He doesn't move, however, and I can still hear his paws typing away on his keyboard. I roll my eyes and get up, pulling on his coat. Marrowyn, come on. You've worked all day. I know you did. I was there. Well, yes, but... Nope. Come, at least get cleaned up. I do my best to push him towards the bathroom. Of course, there's no way I could actually move someone like him. He must agree with me at least a little, as he somewhat begrudgingly makes his way inside. I already know you're going to have to work like a dog tomorrow, so just take the night off, okay? Work like a what? Just get cleaned up. And I hit the button to close the door. He's taking an exceptionally long time in there for someone who didn't want to get cleaned up in the first place. I guess it's all that fur. Eventually, though, he finishes drying himself off and comes out. Feeling better? Now what? What do you mean, now what? Now you relax. He seems uncertain, messing with his paws and looking around. Did you have something in mind? I guess I didn't expect to be so awake myself. Alright, just because I didn't plan this far ahead doesn't mean you can just keep working. We'll find something to do. We? Ugh, you know what I mean. Come on, there must be something. Well, sure, but I'm not sure how interesting it would be for you to sit and watch me read medical texts. Let's maybe shelve that one for later. Is there something we could do together? He lets out a deep breath and looks around, digging through his various cabinets and drawers. I don't normally host guests, you know. I can't even remember the last time I had someone over before you moved in. Considering his work ethic, I guess that doesn't really shock me. But not even Pater? Or some of his other assistants? Does Marrowyn... Does he have other friends? I mean, Rune has his crew, and even Maruk has his assistant that I met, and she seemed to know him well enough. Maybe he just has friends he's never mentioned before. I mean, it's possible. He's been so busy taking care of me that I wouldn't put it past him to ignore any and all other obligations. That'd be worse. I really hope he isn't ignoring his social needs just to take care of me. I really hope he isn't ignoring his social needs just to take care of me. He's still searching for something that probably isn't there. Well, if you did host people, what would you want to do? Oh, whatever they wanted would be fine. Marrowyn. That's usually what happens when I get invited out. I'm not particularly picky. Marrowyn. No, Marrowyn, I asked what you would like to do. Surely you have some preference. I mean, you suggested that film we're going to go see, right? Do you want to watch something? Oh, well, I suggested that because I knew you've been wanting to learn more about lion culture. Jesus fuck, Marrowyn! It is a well-respected piece after all, or so I've been told. Wait, you haven't actually seen it yourself? No, I don't think so. His smile doesn't falter, but for some reason it doesn't feel as bright. You know what? I'm going to say this because I feel like he needs to hear it. And I'm turning on the echo to emphasize my point. You are allowed to be your own person. Just because someone else wants to do something doesn't mean you have to do it as well. You are allowed to be yourself. Do you even want to go see it then? Well, of course. You seem so excited to go see it. And what if I said I wanted to do something else? Really? Oh, well, I could try and find something else for us to do, but I'm not sure how much time I'd have to look for something. Marrowyn, do you even want to hang out together? If this Sokno stuff is too much, we can always... No, I do. I've never been particularly good at, deciding things, I suppose. That explains a lot, actually. His muzzle curls into a wicked shape as he looks off into the room trying to find the words. I move aside and pat my bed. He almost seems reluctant, but he follows. Maybe that's not right. I'm having a hard time putting it to words. Well, what do you do when you're alone? Surely you don't only read medical documents, right? Marrowyn, I know that can't be true. I take my work very seriously. It's not something that I can... He stops himself as he locks eyes with me, and surely my expression gives him some pause. It's hard for me, Tucker. There are a lot of expectations on me, and I don't... He sighs. You don't what, Marrowyn? I rest my hand on his thigh, my expression gone from anger to solace in the matter of a sentence. He tenses up and tries to turn away. I don't do other things, Tucker. I work, and when I'm not working, I read or I study. It's important to me in a way that I can't explain. This is what I do. Marrowyn, you can't be serious. Don't you take breaks? You promised you would. You're my break, Tucker. The words come out faltered and fail to hit their mark. Marrowyn. No, I mean that. I just can't, I don't know how to explain it. Before you came here, I just worked. I worked, and that was it. But now that you're here, it's different. When I work, I get to think of you. I get to think about how I might actually help someone I know. Someone who's different. I'm angry and confused and trying my best not to blush as I respond. But Marrowyn, you're still working! I know. It's too much, and I reach out, placing my hand on top of his strained paws. He lets out a short breath and nervously looks down at me. I pry apart a finger and pull a hand towards me, holding it in my lap. I don't know what to say, Marrowyn. I want you to want something else besides your work. I can't tell if you're being wholly serious, but I'm worried. His paw twitches in my hands, the fingers tense slightly against my own as I idly hold them. My work it's important to me. There's a slight pause before the word me. You're important to me. You know, just for that, I gotta sing that one part from, what was I made for? Because I feel like Marrowyn can really respond to it. Like, the words, Actually, there's an even better version of What Was I Made For. It's a combination of What Was I Made For and I Love You, and it is amazing. One specific part. 'Cause I don't know how to feel, but I don't want to. I feel like that describes Marrowyn to a T. Look up What Was I Made For X I Love You Billie Eilish edit. It is amazing. One of the best things I've ever heard. There is no such pause. And please know that I know that I have a habit of constricting my words, but I mean that, Tucker. You're different from work, and I can't explain it. It's just how I've always been. I don't feel right unless I'm doing something. Unless I'm making a difference. Maybe that's just what was drilled into me when I was younger. But it's always worked, so I've never questioned it. Silence falls and nothing is left but the remnant of heavy breaths. His eyes dash about, landing anywhere but on me. Working through some unseen thoughts at an unbearably glacial pace. His breath is taut and choppy and his paw strained. Marrowyn, what do you want? From what? From this. From work. From life. That might have been a bit much, as all breathing stops and his eyes widen. Words seem like they want to escape from his lips, but nothing comes out but a whimper and a sigh. He swallows, looking up at the ceiling, turns to me, and finally responds. I want to be needed. Okay, that hit really close to home. Do you still want to go to the movies together? And not because I want to, but because you want to as well? He's trying his best to not break eye contact, but I see it's hard for him. I think I do. I trust you, Marrow. His breath falters and he can only whisper out, I know. Neither of us dare to move as we sit idly by. I brush the fur on his paw with one of my fingers, only to have it get caught as he closes it. Is there anything else that you'd want to do? I don't know if I've given it thought. Would you? I could. A moment passes before he takes his paw back and with little struggle, stands up. Walking into the bathroom, he closes the door. The fan goes on. Not that I'd dare eavesdrop anyways. Living together, the observatory, even this film. All things I asked for. A few agonizing minutes go by and the door opens. His smile is back. Are you okay, Marrowyn? I believe so. May I hug you, Tucker? Oh, sure. Pulling myself up, I stand in front of him and limply pull out my arms. He still takes me in all the same. Living together, the observatory, the film. Did I ever ask to be hugged? He lets me go before I have time to think and a patently short hug for the man. He's still smiling, but I can tell it's not easy for him. I'll think about what you said. What we said. I know you will. It is getting late, however, and I do have work tomorrow. I know. It's okay. Have a good night, Marrowyn. Have a good night, Tucker. He stands awkwardly before turning off the lights and rolling into bed. Following suit, I find myself caught staring at the ceiling. I'm suddenly not tired at all, and I think only now I realize how fast my heart was beating this whole time. Holding my hands to stop them from shaking, I take deep breaths and calm my nerves. I never thought I'd meet a man who'd want for nothing so literally. Eventually, somehow, I managed to close my eyes and let the stillness wash over me. Okay. I'm gonna have to split this into another part. I'm sorry, but I have to. I have to. Well, stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.